Picture it, December 7th, 1941. Beautiful palm trees, beautiful blue seas and oceans. A perfect day, a clear day, until disaster struck. Then President Franklin Delano Roosevelt said that what happened this day, 80 years ago, in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, was a day that will live in infamy. And indeed it did. The attack on this country at Pearl Harbor decimated many things. The attack on Pearl Harbor decimated the Navy fleet that we had at the time, which was very small compared to other large powers at the time. It decimated the morale of those at Pearl Harbor. It really awakened what they called the sleeping giant in this country and really changed the trajectory of American history. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about the lessons from Pearl Harbor. What are some of the things that we can learn and how it can be applied to you in your corporate setting. As always, we ask that you like, share, or send me a message if you like some of the content from these videos. The first lesson that we can learn from Pearl Harbor is absolute preparedness. Looking at the historical record, the War Department at the time, which is now the Department of Defense, had been given warnings that there was an attack coming from Japan. Rear Admiral Husband E. Kimmel, who was in control of the base at Pearl Harbor, frankly didn't think that the Japanese would attack. There were other warning signs as well, but for one reason or the other, there was a lack of preparedness. The fleet, the airplanes, were not covered at that time. They were out on the airfield. And when the Japanese came to attack, it was very easy. They took out most of the planes. So once the attack happened, there weren't enough planes to go up and try to give resistance to the Japanese fighters. The ships weren't taken out to sea. They also were sitting ducks. Not having a plan for something that you know is coming, frankly, is it's really a dereliction of duty. And so Rear Admiral Husband E. Kimmel was relieved of command after this episode. But if you think about you and you think about the threats that may be facing you, some of the risk factors that might be facing you, it's important to build out a plan to affect those. The first thing is you want to write out what those things are. What is that risk factor? It might help if you do a risk assessment, really trying to understand what that is. The second lesson from Pearl Harbor is that once that risk assessment is done, really looking at it and building out various scenarios about how that can happen. In other words, there's no one way that a risk can happen to you. It can happen in several ways. It can attack you at various points. Now, whatever your risk assessment is and whatever that is to you and your company or your management team, you know that for yourself. But it would be good to build out 3 different ways that that particular risk could manifest itself. The purpose of this is so that you're thinking imaginatively. One of the things that was said in the Roberts Commission, which was the commission that studied what happened at Pearl Harbor, was that Rear Admiral Kimmel wasn't imaginative. He didn't think enough about how he would be attacked. You don't want to be caught flat-footed. There are a lot of things out there today, whether it's the digitization, the technology, and how that's going to affect you, a retirement risk, whatever those factors are, you want to be imaginative and build out various scenarios to really understand how those threats will affect you. 80 years ago today, America was attacked at Pearl Harbor, and we mourn those lives lost. But there are absolute lessons that have been learned that we can apply to our world today. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.